All righty, welcome everybody to the D&D Sports Network morning startup show with JJ Pruitt and Darryl McCoy. I'm here in a cloudy Thursday morning here in Warfield, Kentucky, JJ, and I don't know about you, but looks like we may have some rain on the horizon.
Absolutely, and it's the exact same way on this end. And I'll tell you, like yesterday, the weather was really nasty here. I think that my power may have went out once or twice, and I'm really hoping that it clears up really soon.
Well, anymore in today's world, power going out does not surprise me. Anywhere because it seems like that's just an automatic thing. But real quick before we get started, want to take a second to remind everybody first segment is sponsored by Justin Markham, attorney at law, located in Williamson, West Virginia. If you're looking for a lawyer that can get you the judgment you deserve and the outcome you're looking for, call Markham Law Offices. So as we get started here, JJ, guys, I did not realize until yesterday, until we went to Hazard after the show. We went to Hazard and had to go see our good friend Derek Bowling, and I did not realize how sheltered you was, JJ. When you said sheltered, I thought, he just, I'm sure, I know people sheltered, but they know a little bit, but we went and we turned around at the battlefield there in Prestonsburg, and they got the Abraham Lincoln Monument, the one that Eric C. Kahn famously made. They got it right there in the battlefield there at Prestonsburg, and I told JJ, I said, right there's that Eric C. Kahn. He's like, Eric C. Kahn. And he's like, who's Eric C. Kahn? And he's like, how do you spell it? S-E-A-C-O. I said, no, Eric C. Kahn. And so that led into the story. He didn't know anything about who Eric C. Kahn is. He's probably, I guarantee you, there won't be another viewer that's watching right now that don't know who Eric C. Kahn is, JJ.
And I hate that I didn't know his story, but when you started to give me a couple of the details about him, I was blown away that somebody that was this close to this area could pull off something that crazy.
Oh yeah, it is a must-watch documentary. I think it's called The Con Man. Mm-hmm. And another thing I was surprised that you don't know about is JJ does not know who the Wild and Wonderful Whites of West Virginia is.
I have no idea. I mean, I thought it was like that family that's on YouTube. It's another West Virginia family that I'm trying to choose my words wisely whenever I see it. They're a little different.
Wrong with them. They're inbred.
I wasn't going to go that far, but they're a little different.
They are. So, I think that's what they promote. Themselves as is like an inbred family.
I thought that was the family that you was talking about, but when you mentioned the Wonderful Whites, like that's another crazy story that I had no clue about.
So you have been really sheltered. Like you've never heard of Jessica White, Mimi White. You've never heard of none of them.
No, I've never heard of any of them. Are they? Where'd you say they were from? Was it Boone County, Madison, or
Boone County?
Okay.
Mimi actually, she roams in the Williamson area these days.
No, she really?
Yeah.
I've heard of the TV show Buck Wild. I think isn't that a West Virginia show as well?
That's up north. That's a little further. That's right outside Charleston.
Oh, okay. So that doesn't really. That's not as southern as Boone County.
No. You talk about reality shows that's got links here to the mountains. You got Buck Wild, then Teen Mom had Leah, who was from the Charleston area, and her baby daddy. So that. I'm trying to think if there's any more. Somebody let us know in the comment section if you can think of one, but that would be the ones that I could think of right off bat.
No. Do you know of any shows that actually have a good depiction of West Virginia? Like one that's not going to make us look too bad?
Of West Virginia. I don't know, man. I would have to think about that. I'm sure there is. The
Uh-huh.
one there's one about a guy in Kentucky. Trying to think of the name of it, where he's a famous writer and ended up moving to Ohio, and a lot of people went at him because they thought that he was like kind of bashing our way of life here, but he really wasn't. It's just the way that we live, and the people that really knew was they was okay with it and proud of it, but the people that some people wanted to cause us think. But I'll think of the name of that movie, but it's a movie that I highly suggest.
Yeah, I would love to check it out.
So
Absolutely.
you got to you've never ate Bradley Dameron says the Whites are unique people to say the least. And Linda Spurlock says Jessica White. So and Linda Spurlock, she's my she keeps me updated on Drew Smith's name. So I like keeping Linda around, so if I ever mention Drew. But going in, you got to go to Hazard yesterday. First time you've ever went to Hazard, right?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I think I may have passed through, like I may have seen a sign that said Hazard, Kentucky, but I've never really been inside the town and got to see the scenery and stuff.
I'd say the Hazard sign that you've seen was probably on your way to Lexington, and that was probably on 23 there before you take the exit. So that's probably about an hour away.
Yeah, that's me being on my way to the airport.
Yeah, yeah. I've never in my life seen anybody as sheltered as you. Yeah, so we got to eat at the Big Blue Smokehouse yesterday.
Absolutely, and they have really, really good food, and the waitresses were very nice. Every person that we talked to was kind, and they were very fast to bring our food to us as well.
Yeah,
but I had a Philly cheesesteak sandwich with some French fries, and we had the potato skins for the appetizer. And what did you have again? Was it the ribeye? Was it the usual? Or yeah, I definitely can't wait to go there again.
Yeah, that's my go-to place when I go to Hazard. Hazard Perry games, I'm going to the Big Blue Smokehouse. So you was asking me yesterday, if I went around to different areas, what's the places I like to eat at certain schools.
Mm-hmm.
That's tough. If I'm in the Pikeville area, my go-to is Sal's. I think Sal's pound for pound is the best restaurant in Pikeville. If I go up to Boyd County, Ashland, Raceland area, I normally go to Smoking Jay's. I'm a big Smoking Jay's fan. Or if my wife's with me, it's always Cheddar's. That's all she wants to eat. Then Prestonsburg, may get crucified for this, but it's the Brick House. Then if I'm over Martin County way, Cloud 9, where you got a chance to eat at.
Well, they have really good food as well.
Trying Logan area, always Chiefs. Love the broccoli and cheese at Chiefs. That keeps me coming back. Trying to think, Belfry area. It used to be Starters, but Starters. They just now are reopening, about a month ago they reopened, and their menu's like, halfway done, and so you can't really go there and get a steak or anything right now. So I normally go up to the steakhouse if I'm in the Belfry area. Mingo Central is listen, Trailhead Bar and Grill all day long, every day. Phelps, Hornets. I always try to eat at local establishments if I can.
Absolutely.
If there's a good local option, I'm going to eat there. If I go to Salyersville, there's not a ton of great food in Salyersville. I mean, you got Lee's restaurant that you mentioned.
Lee's Chicken.
Yeah, and then the Mexican restaurant. But my go-to, there's a restaurant called the Farmhouse in Salyersville. That's probably my go-to there.
So I actually have a question for you. When you mentioned restaurants in Belfry, so when I went to Belfry High School from my sophomore year to my senior year, the first year that I went there, I had the privilege of going to the older school before they built the new one.
Yep.
And they used to order pizza from this restaurant, and they used to sell it to us during break time, like for sixth period. And it was like right across the road, but couldn't remember the name of that place. Do you know what place I'm talking about?
It is Pirates Pizza now, but when
The,
we was younger, it's called Pizza Time.
yes. So is it the same
Still the best
style of?
pizza. No, Pirates Pizza isn't the same, but they got good pizza. But
Yeah,
it's not the same as Pizza Time. I've still never found pizza as good as Pizza Time.
that's what I was saying. That's the best pizza I've ever had in my life, and I used to get it every single day. Like for lunch, I would just say, you know what, I'm going to skip lunch, save my money, and come sixth period, get as many slices as I possibly can.
Well, you was asking me about restaurants when we was
Yeah.
kids.
Hmm.
Restaurants that was in the that isn't around anymore that we miss. A few that come to my mind is Druthers,
Hmm.
Little Venus, Pizza Barn. That would probably, and Shirley's was a
Yeah.
restaurant up Stone. Those are probably my four.
Well, for me, the number one is the Lee's Chicken. It used to
Yep.
be right next to the McDonald's in South Williamson, Kentucky. You
Yep.
know, they were only there for a couple of years, but they may have closed down and moved whenever I was like 7 or 8 years old. But
Oh,
yeah, I'll never forget
they
how
was
good their
there
chicken was.
for a long time.
Yeah, but I was really young back then.
Oh,
So by the time that I was actually old enough to remember them,
yeah.
they had ended up going somewhere else. And
Yeah, that's where it went out of business. I think right after I was in high school. Carl Whitey Little says Kings. Whitey, is Kings I think it's the restaurant that my mom said she worked at as a kid. Was it on the corner, like across from Marathon and Williamson there? Let me know. And by the way, if I'm in the Williamson area, Three Guys Pizza and Brew is the place I'm eating at. Lenore area, it's Cheech's. So them two areas got two great restaurants, Williamson and Lenore as well. But I think King's was on the corner of that. Tim McCoy said, "Come to Inez, try pizza. Stop, promise you will come back." Tim, let us know where that's at, and me and JJ will make a trip up there after one of our shows next week. We'll come
absolutely.
visit. Jimmy Johnson says Lee's famous recipe. It was so good. My father, mother, brother, and I loved it there. Said Lee's was here in Pikeville when I was growing up. It was the old El Picante building beside Appalachian. I know where you're talking about, Jimmy. Exactly where you're talking about. I trying to think. Lee's right now. I know they're the one in Salyersville, and then I know in Hazard we seen one yesterday.
Yeah, I was so mad that you just drove right past it. I was like, no, no, I got
Yeah.
to get something to go.
And then Arby's. Before Arby's,
Right.
and
It was Rax.
Rax
Yeah.
was a big one whenever I was a kid. But and I don't know if you ever remember a Dairy Queen
Oh, it's still in Williamson, right?
or a Burger Queen.
That was before my time. Yeah.
Yeah, there used to be a Burger Queen, Dairy Kings.
Yeah. No.
So you never heard of them.
Yeah,
That I
that
miss
must have.
Jerry's and
Yeah.
Racks, Jimmy Johnson says. And Drive-In South Williamson, Whitey Little said. I don't remember then it being in South Williamson. I don't remember. I thought King's Restaurant was the one right there right there on the corner across from Marathon. What was that
Mhm.
restaurant in Williamson? Let us know. When I was a
Yeah.
kid, there was a restaurant there. But I'm trying to think, JJ. There
Little
was
Brothers.
Little Brothers. Yeah, right there at
Yeah,
the mall.
absolutely.
Right there beside Athletic Attic.
Yeah, they had the
Yeah.
best hot dogs, and they had like a special. If you got like six, you could get them like six for $5.
Yep.
And yeah, they had the best hot dogs of anybody around.
Well, I don't know. Myself, it's tough. I'd take. Well, they used to be one when I was real little. There used to be a pizza place in West Williamson that was really good. That had a Pac-Man video game. I remember my mom used to waitress there. And I remember like she'd take me to work with her, and they had a Pac-Man game that was like a table, and you had to sit down, and on each side you could sit and play it. But it was a table, and you had to look down through the table to see Pac-Man. But
that's a very advanced system you got, because the ones that I remember, they were standing like the old school arcade machines. Like I never seen any that was like that for Pac-Man specifically.
I listen. Pizza Barn was the place to go. I mean, if they didn't have, it seemed like somebody could tell me. I could be wrong, but it seemed like as a kid that they had 80 pinball machines across the across the walls. I could be wrong, but it seemed like they had a lot of pinball machines there. Somebody that's a little older that that's my memory of it. And then I think they had like you could roller skate in there too, I think. Or become a skating ring after or something like that. But JJ, we're gonna take our first break. When we come back, we're gonna talk about the NBA draft last night. I know I gave you some homework to do and I told you to study the draft. So we're gonna come back and we're gonna see what JJ knows about the NBA draft. We'll be right back after a quick word from our sponsors.
Started right here on this farm. We may have grown over the years, but we've never lost sight of what was important to us. We're continuing that tradition today, and we always will be for generations to come.
Walters Kia. By now you know Kia is a great vehicle, and you know they come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty. So why should you buy from Bruce Walters Kia? At Bruce Walters Kia, we're going to change your oil for free for life. And what you do with that money you save is up to you. Come check out the 2022 Kia Carnival and the 2021 Kia Sorento. Only at Bruce Walters Kia in Pikeville. Or shop us online at brucewalterskia.com.
Oceana Discount Tobacco today. Nobody can beat Oceana Discount Tobacco's great prices or their great services. You're treated like family from the second you walk through the door. We want to thank Oceana Discount Tobacco for sponsoring today's events. Go follow them on Facebook.
High School. Continue to follow D&D Sports, best coverage in the mountains.
We're back here on the D&D Sports Network morning startup show. I'm Darryl McCoy. Got JJ Pruitt over to my right side here. JJ, yesterday we couldn't figure out. I tell people all the time we're not tech savvy, or I'm not. You bring that to the table. You and the maestros are tech people. But our background was backwards yesterday, and I was like, I don't know how to fix it. Well, whenever I went to log on today, there was a mirrored button. I hit it, and it fixed it.
and sometimes it's always something that simple that gets the job done.
It was very simple. We see some comments coming in. Jimmy Johnson says those BBCs had the at Racks was amazing in the salad bar. Station Alpha was really cool when I was a kid in Pikeville. Arcade pizza and singing and dancing bears. I don't remember Station Alpha. Now, Gary Justice says 3-way Marbone Regina. That restaurant's still there, isn't it, Gary? Let us know. I think that restaurant's still there. When you go and look at, they said that restaurant, or Jimmy said that there was a Station Alpha in Pikeville. Now, I remember when I was a kid, the arcade room at the mall was called Station Omega. So I wonder if the same owners owned it and called it Alpha and Omega.
That's a good question. Honestly, like I remember the arcade being at like 3 different locations in the mall. Like one time it was next door to Sears, and then one time it was next door to Watson's or Peebles, whichever one anybody's old enough to remember.
That was the real arcade room. That was next to Peebles and Watson there, right there where Peking's is.
Yeah, right beside Peking.
Yeah.
Or was it in the Peking building, or was it next door to the Peking building?
Well, it's I think Peking has expanded over into where it was at now, but it used to be right beside it, between Peebles and Peking.
Yeah, I vividly remember that.
Yeah, I that was the place to be. When I was a kid, that's where you wanted to go. You spend hours in there. I used to I'd tear Double Dragon up, sitting there, killing the sticks. But and then that air hockey, they had an air hockey table in there. It come later, but great memories. But JJ, I want to get to some sports here. Let's talk NBA draft. Last night I told you to do some homework.
Yes,
I was late getting back. I had to go to Morgan County last night, so I was 11:30 getting back from Morgan County. Went and met with Coach Perry. He worked my boy out last night, so I didn't. I was keeping up with the draft on my phone, and after Reed Sheppard went, I kind of turned it off. So update me on the NBA draft.
So I struggle with the homework as well, because like for some reason the stream that I was watching, the internet, like, it kept shutting off. But as soon as the draft was over, I was able to, do a little bit of research, and I noticed that the number 1 pick was Zachary Razage. He was a 6'9" forward, and from what I saw, like, I watched a lot of his highlights and a couple of his games. He's a really good defender. He has really good offensive skills, and he reminds me a lot of a young Kevin Durant, surprisingly. And then the number 2 pick, a guy named Alex Starr. He's a forward from France as well. That's one thing that I noticed, is the first 2 draft picks were actually from France. And last year the number 1 pick,
brother of Olivier Starr, former UK player.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah. And so it's like, the first 2 picks were from France, and then last year, another guy, Wembanyama, he was from France as well, or he played for France. So like, it just seems like a lot of good players are coming from that area now.
Yeah, lot international. Game is unbelievable. I mean, if you take a look at them too, imagine what that France team's going to look like in a couple of years in the Olympics. It's going to be insane. But I still, this NBA draft, Kentucky fans got up for it because of Reed and Rob. There's no quarrels about it. That's why we cared. But I don't think the rest of the nation really cared about it. There wasn't that big name in the past. There was a Zion, Anthony Davis, Karl Anthony Towns, Joel Embiid. There wasn't that one guy, that one guy that could change the fortunes of a franchise.
And what's crazy is it seems like the majority of players who actually have a chance to change the franchises, they're coming from other countries.
Yeah.
And the great Kobe Bryant years ago, he said, the international is going to take over, and it's showing today.
It has they're fundamentally sound. That's the thing about the international game is, some of my favorite players in the NBA are international players, and I think they play the game the right way.
Absolutely. And, these guys come into the, before they come into the league, like, they're playing against grown men. Like, if you look at Luka, I can't remember exactly what age he first started playing. It may have been 13 or 14 years old, but he was playing against grown men for years. And, they would ask him, like, which is more difficult, to get a bucket on the international level or to get one in the pros? And he said the pros was much more easier.
Yeah, I could see that. They move the ball around a lot more on the international level. I'm just a big fan of international basketball. I like women's basketball. Let's move on to what people care about. Reed Sheppard. Reed Sheppard was one of the most hated athletes ever in high school. Well, he wasn't hated. He was beloved in Kentucky, but people always doubted him. They was like, he ain't good enough to play in the NBA. He ain't good enough to play at UK. There's like, he'll be a 4-year player, maybe get a play his junior, senior year. Well, I really knew, JJ, when I knew that Reed was a different level was during an AAU game that was on ESPN, and you had Reed and Trent Noah, I think, was on that team. And there was trying to think who else was on Reed's team. And they ended up playing a team that had Rob Dillingham, Bronny James, a bunch of others. And Reed Shepherd was the best player on the floor. It wasn't even a doubt, wasn't close. Reed was the best player on the floor. I knew then that, this dude, something different about this dude. So, I'm tickled to death. Reed is an amazing kid. I mean, if I know Reed pretty well. I mean, we spent a lot of time together in the past. He's done videos for me, and his family is great. Talk to his dad all the time, but I couldn't be more happy for the kid because he had so many doubters early on that there's like, you're a 6'1" white kid, you'll never make it, and he went and showed people. I mean, he's they're saying that he might. I think it was Chris Broussard had him ranked, or Fran Fraschilla one had him ranked the top 3-point shooter that they've ever covered going into the NBA draft.
Oh wow!
And that says a lot for Steph Curry.
Absolutely, and I watched a lot of his highlights last night, and he's very smooth. He doesn't seem to have any flaws in his game offensively, and he seems like he's going to be a solid defender as well. I think that he's going to be one of those players that immediately comes in and makes an impact. Yeah,
well, Jimmy Johnson says, I think the Spurs made a bad decision trading Rob Dillingham. He would have been a great pair with Wemby. Said now he really adds to an already up-and-coming Timberwolves team. Anthony Edwards, the big cat, just get a dynamic player. I agree. I wanted him to stay with Wemby, because I thought them two, the way that Rob Dillingham plays, I thought with Wemby, that would have been an electric duo for many years. But for some reason, the Spurs traded him, and I don't guess I'm going to doubt them because they've had a great history of making great draft decisions. But the T-Wolves, I mean, they got an explosive player, and I may end up having, the Knicks always be my team, but out west, I think T-Wolves might be where I'm shifting my love to.
Absolutely, and Anthony Edwards, he's a killer too. I mean, he's cut from that Kobe and Jordan cloth for sure.
Yeah, Anthony Edwards, he's a different breed.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
just seeing what he did to the Denver Nuggets. I know he had some moments where he, but for the most part, I mean, he didn't shy away from it. And they were the defending champions.
Well, no, when you look, you talk about that Anthony Edwards, and a couple players on there. I don't know. There's a few players that's left that could, be good picks, but I'm not as interested in the second round. The only thing that interests me is, I want to see where Antonio Reeves goes, and obviously wanting to see who the boneheads are that take Bronny James. So somebody will.
Oh yeah, that's definitely the hot topic for today. I know you and I had a little bit of a conversation yesterday on, how we thought he was going to do. Like, you had your opinion and I had my opinion. Would you like to share yours first, or would you like me to go? Or
no, you can go ahead.
I think that I think he shows flashes of his dad, but the problem is he's listed at 6'1". So it's like, you have your dad's athletic ability, but when you're that size, you have to be an elite ball handler. And I don't think that he has those elite ball handling skills, but I think that he could be a solid defender. I mean, I think if he just picks the right position, because like there's plenty of players in the league, like you could ask yourself, like, could he be as good as somebody on the end of the bench for another team? And my answer to that would be
no. My answer is no. No. Bronny James didn't even get to play at USC. I know he had health issues, but he still wasn't very good before that. And I listen. All jokes aside, I pray for Bronny. I like Bronny. I mean,
Absolutely.
I like him as far as, a person, and, watching what he does and stuff. And, I like his drive. But I hate it, because this kid, there's so many kids out there that are ready, that are, better than Bronny right now. But Bronny will get a shot because of who his dad is. And listen, if you're an NBA franchise, I don't guess I blame you, because, I would say if you get Bronny, there's a good chance that you'll end up getting LeBron at some time. Or, if you get, here's the thing, if you're an NBA team, why not draft him? Because, I guarantee you the Lakers will try to trade, so you might be able to get something from them. So, I just think as far as talent, he's 6'1", and we see a dime a dozen, of Bronny James. Listen, all day long, I'll take Obina and Achilles Killen at Marshall over him. All day long, former Chapmanville star. All day, every day. Let us know your opinion at the home, folks.
Absolutely.
Jimmy Johnson's tuning in. Let us know your opinion on the draft here. But I don't know. I mean, I hate it for Bronny, but he's Bronny's a he gets a lot of pressure because who his dad is, and I hate that. But at the end of the day, I think that he will get picked, and somebody will take a gamble on him.
Well, one of the reasons that somebody's probably going to take the gamble is not only based on, his athletic ability and showing flashes of his dad occasionally, but at the end of the day, these franchise owners, they have a business to run. And one of the main things is like putting butts in seats. And if you draft Bronny, and there's a good chance that
I'm not paying anything to watch Bronny James.
Well, okay, but hear me out. People will pay to see his dad if his dad decides to sign with the team. So that's going to make them a lot of money. You're going to get a lot of jersey sales. You're going to get a lot of people selling out. And they're going to hope that moment comes where the two of them share the court together. And, maybe Bronny throws an alley-oop to LeBron, or LeBron throws an alley-oop to Bronny. It'll be the equivalent of, King Griffey Jr. whenever he got to play with his dad. I remember I wasn't born yet, but I saw the highlights. It was like 1989 when King Griffey was a rookie. His father hit a home run. And then the very next at bat, which was King Griffey Jr., he hit a home run as well. So I think that people are going to want to see a moment like that or something like that. But that would probably be the main reason why any franchise would probably want to take a chance on him right now.
It would be neat to see for sure. But we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to have D&D chief sports writer for the D&D.com website, Bradley Dameron's going to join us, and he's going to sit through and talk a few segments with us. Ain't got anything particular, but Bradley's going to come on, and he's going to he's going to host with us a little bit, JJ.
Well, I look forward to meeting him.
All right, guys, we'll be right back after a word from our sponsors.
D&D Auto Sales. Right now, guaranteed credit approval. No credit, bad credit, good credit, it don't matter. Guaranteed credit approval 100% right now at J&B Auto Sales. Stop by and see them today in DeBoer, Kentucky. Crum Funeral Home in DeBoer, Kentucky is committed in giving the highest quality funeral services for a fair and reasonable price. If you don't want to have to deal with heavy financial obligations during your grieving process, come see us at Crum Funeral Home. Our staff is ready to serve you.
Drug today and let them fill your prescription. Eric Homa Drug has been serving the Chapmanville community for over 46 years. They're a proud supporter of the Chapmanville Tigers and all mountain athletes.
All started right here on this farm. We may have grown over the years, but we've never lost sight of what was important to us. We're continuing that tradition today, and we always will be for generations to come.
High School, continue to follow D&D Sports, best coverage in the mountains.
And we are back here with the D&D Sports Network morning startup show here with Darryl McCoy, JJ Pruitt, and joining us is special guest D&D.com chief sports writer Bradley Dameron. How you doing, Bradley?
Man, I'm doing good over here. You know, it's kind of a dreary morning. Always want to keep the power on and internet on. That's been an issue the last couple of days, and we'll just try to keep it rolling.
That's all you can do, right?
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
So as we're sitting here, JJ's never got a chance to meet Bradley. JJ, I know you was interested with Bradley's background. Can you tell JJ some of your history in sports writing?
Yeah, so I have kind of like a bit of both of sports writing and sports media background in general. I, of course, worked at the Williamson Daily News. I had 2 stints there as a sports writer, mainly back early 2000s, and then I had another little stint.
I think Bradley's in that. We might have. There you go, Bradley. You're back.
Oh, yes. Okay.
I'm telling you, man. I don't even know right now. Optimum. Anyway,
Yeah.
but worked twice at the Williamson Daily News. Worked at the Boone Standard over in Madison for a bit.
Yeah,
and then I was in sports information at both Liberty University and Virginia Military Institute. So did that, and then worked out in Indiana a bit at the Spencer County Journal-Democrat, which was actually pretty close to like Owensboro.
okay.
So it's kind of across the river from Owensboro.
Well, Bradley, you ended up. I met you during the days at Williamson Daily News.
Yeah, you were delivering stuff then. You were coming in, sometimes waiting around on us to get finished in the sports department.
Yeah, they sitting there waiting on you guys to get done, and I'd always come in there, sit, talk with you, Josh Ball, and Tim Bostic was there back then, and so I'd go talk to all you guys, because you guys had my dream job back then. So I was just waiting for my chance to root y'all out.
The glamorous Williamson Daily News newsroom. Oh man,
I love them days. Jared McCormick does an amazing job there with them nowadays.
Yeah, Jared does a great job.
Yeah, but as we're sitting here talking, you heard us talking about the NBA draft. We got some comments coming in. Kevin Stepp says they are getting the marketability of the Jameses. Said, and you might get LeBron for one season before he retires. Jimmy Johnson says Bronny will end up an 8 and 12 point career in the NBA score. Said they'll draft him on potential and his father's chance of coming to their team for the last of his career. Said ticket sales and merchandising alone is worth the gamble on a late pick. So, that's their thoughts. You got any thoughts on the NBA draft, Bradley?
I watched a lot of it last night, off and on. I will say that I heard Jay Billis say something that kind of resonated with me. Jay Billis is the only guy from Duke I trust, so you take that into account. But he did say that at some point in the U.S., almost everyone says small guys out top, big guys down low, and he said internationally they teach everyone to do the same things. So what happens is you see their bigs are more versatile bigs, which is how the game has trended. You don't see too many of those old guys who beat and bang on the inside. And I mean, think about like the 80s and even 90s. Most of those NBA centers that were really good, there are maybe just a couple who would actually fit in today's game.
Arvydas Sabonis and Vlade Divac are the two that comes to my mind.
Team Elijah
I still think Elijah would fit in well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I mean, well, and you look at, I mean, it'll be very interesting. Like Zach Edey, was drafted in the top 10. It'll be interesting. I do like those guys who are just big and bull over you, but it's going to be interesting to see how he actually fits in the NBA.
Now,
going back to
who did Edey go to?
I want to say Memphis. I think that's right.
Okay. Go ahead, JJ.
Oh, I was going to go back to him talking about players that he thought that from back then that could play today. I'm going to give you a name that may surprise you, and Darryl may have a problem with it, but I think that a player like Christian Laettner was ahead of his time. I think that somebody like him, he was 6'11", and just the way that he moved and the way that he played, I think that he could have potentially had a shot to be, decent in today's game with the way that it's played.
I mean, possibly. Laettner, his problem at the NBA level, defensively, he was always just kind of so-so.
Yeah.
But then again, you have if you're good enough offensively, and I don't know if he is, but if you're good enough, I don't know if they really ask you to play much defense.
No, not in today's game for sure.
No. I mean, look at Luka. I mean,
yeah, he's a 5-star.
That's my biggest criticism of Luka, right? Like some people are saying like best player in the world. Well, best player in the world also needs to play on both ends of the floor a little bit. He doesn't have to be all world but on defense, but
at least top 15, top 20, maybe.
Yeah, you got to give me something. You got to at least, stand there instead of just watch Jaylen Brown drive by you as he goes flying to the rim,
Maybe a third team all defense. You ain't even going to be first or second team, maybe third team,
I mean, that was the thing. Like, people were asking about talking about the finals MVP, and I still think they got it right. I think Jaylen Brown played both ends of the floor the entire finals, and
yeah.
But
absolutely.
Luka, I mean, he got blown by way too many times to be considered the best player in the world. Maybe best offensively. I could kind of vibe with that, but
Luka's my favorite player to watch by far, and Jokic is probably my second. Although he's a guy that could have fit in the 80s. He's although he fits in today's game because he gets the ball 15 foot out face up and to take it to the rack, but he's still got a strong back to the basket game, so I think he could have played back then.
Well, I just think of someone too like Bird. Like in today's game, Bird would be like a stretch center or stretch 5 or something.
Oh yeah.
I mean, and be excellent at it, but just different game and different time, man.
Jimmy Johnson says those bigs from the 80s and 90s would dominate in today's game because no one could guard them in the post and deal with them physically. Well, it would be a game of matchups. It would be, who could get, what style.
What rules? What
different
rules
too. Yeah. Different rules, and it's called differently. It depends. Are they going to call it like it's 1985, or are they going to call it like today?
Yeah. The rule that changed the NBA more than any, and the rule that I hate that they changed more than any, was the hand check rule.
I absolutely just I don't know, man. I like them. I like some physicality in my game.
That's me.
I like.
I'm a Knicks fan.
Absolutely. Oh, you talking about the '90s Knicks with Charles Oakley and who was it?
Charlie Ward,
Anthony
Oakley.
Mason. Anthony Mason. Rest in peace.
Yeah, Anthony Mason, Ewing, Starks. I mean, we was loaded. Chris Childs, the
Charlie Ward, the former Heisman Trophy. He was the former Heisman Trophy winner, right?
Yep, Florida State.
Yeah, I remember that.
I'm just going to say, like right now, there's all this talk about the hard fouls on Caitlin Clark and all that. Well, listen, I saw Kevin McHale clothesline Kurt Rambis in the 1984 NBA Finals, and they got up, stared down at each other, and went back to playing ball.
Yeah.
So it makes me feel a little bit like when they're talking about, oh no, I'm like,
That's why I'm a big Draymond fan. I think he's a throwback.
Yeah. He'd have fit good with the Pistons in 2004, or even back in the 80s. But yeah, if there'd have been if he would have been there during the Malice in the Palace, like that would have he'd have fit right in.
So, Bradley, we were sitting here, definitely want to talk to you about, you're working on a lot of stories as football season starting to roll around. Got word, Huntington Prep is starting a football program, correct?
Correct. And there will be a story coming out today, internet pending, that about that. I talked with Coach Adam Hill yesterday. He used to be he was the head coach who was helping to start up the St. Joe football program, and now he's at Huntington Prep, and they have an interesting plan, Darryl. They have a very interesting plan. They're going to start off middle school and build from there, and hopefully in a few years you'll see like a national team coming out of Huntington, one that's playing like the IMGs and those schools.
So I'm going to go up and meet with him next week, and we're going to have a sit-down interview on D&D Sports with Coach Hill. But that's their plan, starting with middle school?
Yes, starting with middle school. This year, they don't have a home field yet, so they're playing all their games this year on the road. And they do play some of the teams that we would may broadcast at different times. So hopefully we'll be able to get them. But this first year, that's the thing is get some kids out for the middle school and then build that from there. It's an ambitious plan. It'll be very interesting to see where it goes. But we've seen what they've done with the basketball program there at Huntington Prep, and I have no doubt they can build a football program as well. It will just take some time.
Well, Pastor Kevin does an amazing job there at Huntington Prep. I've dealt with him a long time with our partnership with Huntington Prep basketball. And, they have a multi-million-dollar facility that they're building. So, give them a little bit of time, and Huntington Prep will be one of the biggest powers once again in prep sports.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of what they're waiting on is that big facility to be built with everything. Because right now, like I said, it's just at the ground floor. So, but we're going to see. I mean, Coach Hill is excited about the opportunity, and one thing he reiterated time and time again when I spoke to him is that his goal is not like has never been about winning titles or anything like that. He wants to help kids to go to the next level.
Yeah.
So it's going to be really kind of fun to see how that goes.
Well, I look forward to it. Definitely. He was the first coach of the Huntington St. Joe program, who's Huntington St. Joe is continuing to build that program there with Todd Maynard and crew up there. But, I'm very excited for the city of Huntington. I'm just glad that, that we get to cover them, that Huntington Expressions Church has partnered with us, and we get to do all the Huntington Prep athletics. So, yeah, right now, you've been with D&D Sports Network quite a while now, Bradley. What's the biggest story that you've covered, or what story have you enjoyed covering the most in your time with D&D?
Honestly, probably this past March. Well, actually, the past two Marches, the two state basketball championships.
Yeah, you do a great job covering that down there for us.
I mean, both Chapmanville last year and Tug Valley this year. Seeing both of those schools, seeing guys emerge at the right time. Saldine last year was just magnificent in Charleston. He was that guy who was talking the trash and pounding his chest and hitting the big shots. And this year, really, I think single A in West Virginia this year was a 3-team race, if I'm being honest. And Tug Valley was probably looked at as the second of those 3 teams,
Yeah.
and see them be able to. I'll just be honest. That game was a rock fight. Wasn't the most pretty game you'll ever see, but they were able to out-tough a very strong and physical Tucker County team.
Tug Valley fans will never forget the Bryson Eli play. That kid showed resilience, turned the ball over and then come right back, didn't give up, and made the play to win the game.
I still absolutely I think back about like their state championships and stuff, and I think that's right. At least right now is currently the singular biggest play in Tug Valley basketball history.
I would say that.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a game winner, like a game-winning steal and a game-winning shot. You've had other teams that got the job done, but to be able to do it at the last second like that, that's how memories are made.
It's only 2 points of the game as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then you get the game winner.
Hey, you know what? Sometimes it's not how many you score, it's when you score. So
absolutely. That's like whenever you play pickup basketball. I don't know if you ever did when you was a kid, but if you played a game to 24, there was always that one guy on the team that, hit the game winning shot, but he didn't get a bucket for the entire game. But it doesn't matter.
Yeah, the one that counts, and that's all that matters, man, sometimes. But Bryson Eli, his game anyway, he's a defensive stopper. Defensive stopper, really one of the best shot blockers you'll see for his size.
Yeah.
He's small. He's not real big, but he gets up. He's a great athlete. And just his ability to block a few shots and get a few steals and I guess that timely bucket. And,
absolutely.
Not always the guy who gets the points, but he definitely deserves to be on the floor.
For sure.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what my favorite thing I've covered. Definitely covering Darren Peterson this year was one. Ranked up there as I'm a basketball fan. But the region tournament in 15th region's that's my favorite thing that I do. And then obviously going down covering the Sweet 16. But the Bradley covers the state over in West Virginia, JJ, and then I go to Kentucky, and we keep the fans here at home, updated on everything going on minute to minute. So we got a lot of people tuning in. Peyton Adams says, Darryl, your Knicks are loaded. Said all that's left is to fire Tibbs and hire Jay Wright to coach him for Villanova boys. Jimmy Johnson says NBA is soft with very little defense and physicality now. I agree there.
Absolutely.
Lester, it's always a party when Sukat's in the house. She says, hit that like and share button, folks. Jimmy Johnson said Saul Bethlehem football have picked up about 3 really good players from Peaburg over this summer. I look for the Bobcats to win maybe their first district championship in football in school history this season. Now, I don't know. Belfry dropping down. Did that put them in Betsy Lane's district, Bradley? Do you know?
Could you repeat that, Darryl? I'm sorry.
Belfry dropping down to 2A. Did that put them in Betsy Lane's district?
I would have to look that up, to be honest with you.
They're aren't they in the 60th district like Belfry usually, or
no, they don't do that like that in football. Football's different.
Oh, they don't. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's completely different. But it'd be interesting because if Belfry's in there, it'd be very hard. So and it's next season, not this season. Okay, so well, I could see if it's next season.
Betsy Lane should be very good this year.
Yeah, Betsy Lane could win a district this year.
Last season I think kind of caught some people by surprise, right? Like how good they were last year, and success breeds success, and right now they're rolling over there.
Well, they was it last year? Did they have an undefeated regular season?
They lost 1 game in the regular season, ended up going 10-2 overall.
Yeah, so it might have been their last game that they lost. So this is Belfry's last season in 3A. Yeah, and I'm sure that Coach Hager, Coach DeRosa, and all of them are very happy about that. So, yeah, Bradley, that's one thing with Belfry. They've won titles. The first 2 titles come when they dropped down to 2A. When I was in school in the late 90s, they was in 3A. Then they dropped down to 2A and won a couple titles with David Jones, Doug Howard, Paul Jr., that crew.
G. Childers, I think.
Yeah, G. Childers. Won a couple titles with them. And then they ended up going back up to 3A. And that was they ended up running 4 in a row off there in 2016 to 2020, I think. And that was the Cole Bentley, Austin Dotson, years. And then now they're going to drop that back down to 2A. It'll be tough because 2A statewide, 3A is the weakest class statewide, in my opinion. So 2A, they're going down to a murderer's row.
2A is very strong. I mean, in our area alone, 2A is, really tough. But Belfry's been there, done that. I mean, they're going to be a powerhouse wherever they are. It's just, it might just be a little tougher now. But, of course, Coach Haywood over there, just incredible coach, incredible person. They really do.
You cover the West Virginia side. You cover both sides, but West Virginia, up and down. Who's the best team in our West Virginia coverage area?
For next year?
Yeah.
I mean, really?
I know the real answer.
Probably Mingo Central.
The real answer is Spring Valley, but we'll take them out of the equation. Here, I expect Wayne to have a big year.
I'm a little concerned because Wayne graduated quite a few guys.
Okay.
They graduated quite a few guys. That program scene, I really, honestly, I feel that program's coming back up. Listen, there was a time when Wayne football was as good as any program in the state, and they could have beaten anyone. And then things went a little down for a bit, and different reasons. But they really have risen back up. And let me tell you, they were they didn't have the greatest regular season, but all those were tough losses. And then they gave Fairmont, the eventual state champions, they took them to the wire. Honest to goodness, without an untimely turnover, Fairmont doesn't get out of the first round of the playoffs last year.
Well, I myself, I don't know that. Wayne, I've not read it yet, but I went and bought the book. I ordered it, Out Wayne. So I'm hoping that it lives up to its reputation.
I've not read it either. I've been very curious about it. I've been over at Wayne, Out Wayne, whenever that program was rolling. Whenever they were just. I mean, it was nothing to look at and see them smoke someone. You look up, they won 70-0 or whatever, and they still had one of the best AA defenses I've ever seen in my life. But Mingo Central should be pretty good. Replacing Chris Ross will be the big key there. See, we're facing a lot of turnover right now too for most of our teams. Scott is facing some turnover. They still have Brenniger, so as long as they still have him, they have a shot.
You ain't got Matt Fry though.
You don't have Matt Fry. You don't have some of those other weapons that were on that team. And then Chapmanville should probably be much improved, I would think, this year.
Well, Coach Jones is very high on West Side. He said West Side looked good.
And that was another one I was going to bring up. West Side's been very young the last couple of years, and Caden Vance is ready for a breakout year over there. I really believe that, and I believe Coach Koger's got them set up pretty well, and I think they're going to surprise some people.
Well, I want to get your opinion on one more. What about the Man Hillbillies?
Well, I tell you, I think Man has a good chance to do something. The new single A in West Virginia, with them going to 4 classes for football, has really opened up the door for both Man and Tug Valley this year. Maybe a couple of those old powerhouses are left, but there's what, Greenbrier West, and
I think Tug Valley is primed. I think Haiti Ford has slowly been building a special program, and I think the duo of Preston May and Bryson Eli in that backfield is going to make them an electric team.
I do too, and I tell you, I wish we could have seen the Tug Valley team during the season against Tucker County up there in the playoffs. But with Preston May injured, you had Bryson Eli playing quarterback, and that was just not their game.
Now, Jimmy Johnson says anyone looking to hire a good football coach to build their program back up should look into hiring Molly McGrath from Prescott High. Said she did an amazing job there in the 80s, a.k.a. Goldie Hawn.
Talking about the movie Wildcats.
Yep, love that movie. We'll definitely have to look at that. I'm gonna watch that movie. I forgot about that one. That's one I try to, every now and then I try to have a movie night with my son and teach him old movies, sports movies, and that'll be one I forgot about. So, Bradley, as and definitely the Logan Wildcats are under a new coaching regime. I love Coach Atkins. I think they'll end up give him a little bit of time. I think he'll do a good job. And listen, you got one of the best running backs in the business coming up in Levante Kenny.
Yeah, I'm excited about what's going to happen over at Logan too. I just think it might take a couple years before we really see everything come together. Anytime there's a new coaching change and there's some turnover, all that, it usually takes a year or two. But of course, you never know. Listen, I'm wrong a lot of the time, and sometimes I think, this team will be okay, just okay, and then they end up being fantastic. So I always like my teams to prove me wrong, especially in the positive side.
Ashley Williamson says that seen Man in 7-on-7 said they looked outstanding in 7-on-7. So hopefully and this season they'll have a lot to play for after losing coach.
Yeah, they will. Tootie Carter, really great guy over there at Man, and
they'll probably use that to drive them a little bit.
Yeah, and look, Man football is such a strong tradition. I mean, they're going to strap it on, but the new single A though, I mean, I can see them making a deep run. I can see them making a deep run.
Let me ask you this before we let you go. Over in Kentucky, you got your traditional powers, which are Belfry, Johnson Central, and Pikeville. If you could see any of them not living up to expectation this year, which one drops?
Boy, you're putting me on the hot seat.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, everyone break all hate mail to me. Listen, I still kind of wonder what's going to happen at Johnson Central, just because that community is still kind of recovering a bit. Anytime you lose a coach like Coach Matney under those circumstances, there's been some time that's passed. I just kind of don't know if they're going, I don't know. That's my only thing. I think, it's hard for me to say anything against Pikeville. I mean, Pikeville, year after year after year after year, they're getting it done. They're making a deep run. Maybe not a state title, but if they don't, they're going to be pretty good. Same with Belfry. I hope Johnson said. I hope they're all great, but
I hope they're all great. I'm just saying. I think all of them will lead up to expectation. They'll hold up to their expectations. But I don't know. That's a tough question. I don't know how I would answer.
I wish none of the above. I thought of that as one of my answers. That would be my.
Now the one that has the most to prove is Belfry. Because you graduated a couple players, but here's the thing: the reason why I think this year Belfry has a chance to be really good this year because of two names, Max Dotson and Bo Woodford on that line. That line should be stout. And then listen, Chase Varney runs the team as good as anybody. Chase Varney's actually a quarterback that Belfry, unlike most quarterbacks, he can zip that ball, if given a chance. And I think they threw the ball as much as they ever have last year. So, and is trying to think, is Alex Long? I wonder if he's still there. If so, that kid's got a load of speed. So, he could be a difference maker, especially in special teams game. But and then Caden Barney, he's a next level football player. So I don't know. I think Belfry, though, although I make all them reasons for it, they're the ones that have the most to prove, in my opinion. Because Pikeville, listen, that's this year here. That they got another good senior class coming up. They got some stud running backs. I think Pikeville will make a run at their fourth straight.
I do too. I mean, it's hard to bet against them at this point. Coach McNamee has that program rolling over there, but I tell you, it's always an exciting time whenever the fall gets around and those pads start popping, and so we'll see some amazing stuff soon.
Well, listen, Belfry better live up to expectation, because right now Pikeville's getting a little too close to comfort on that championship run. I think they got 6 now, and we got 8. I think it's the count. So
well, and that game the last few years has not gone Belfry's way either, and I know that stings a bit, for that group of fans and those players and stuff over there on Pond Creek, and that's a little tough.
Definitely tough, but we root for them all. I want to see them all win state titles in their respective classes, and listen, I'll tell you, guy, it's going to be hard to replace Aiden Barnett, but Coach DeRossett, he's got a strong class coming up that will be really tough to deal with there in McGoffin County. So, they could be one of the shocker teams of the mountains. I think Betsy Lane will be really good. And I think Martin County, Martin County got Crayson Lafferty eligible. And being able to get Crayson Lafferty eligible, that's one of the best football / wrestlers that we got in the mountains. Kid is a freak. And, so Betsy Lane, Martin County, keep an eye on them 2 schools. And I look to see what Shelby Valley does with the new coaching regime.
That will be a lot of fun. And I know you're going to let me go here in a minute, but I did want to mention one thing before we head out, before you send me off into the great beyond, hopefully
the shadow realm
all day.
So Jimmy Johnson says Pikeville has 8 too. So I thought they had 6. Okay. So yeah, they do got 8, as he sat here and rung them off. So listen, both tied. So it's a race for 9.
Well, and I tell you, Pikeville's, like I said, it's hard to bet against them at this point. You how could you? They're like a well-oiled machine right now, man.
Yep, and it starts with Coach Branham at that middle school level.
But
and that, I covered that Future Stars game, here in a second, and I'm gonna let you get to your final point. But I covered that Future Stars game, and I tell you, it's Pikeville. Once Duty leaves, they're gonna be in good hands because this young man Cooper Scott coming up is the real deal. So go ahead, Bradley. What was you gonna say?
Well, here's what I was going to say. Like, I know we're all getting excited, Friday Night Lights coming out here. Like, it's going to be here before you know it. Everyone's in the middle of the summer, but let's face it, as soon as baseball season ends, especially on the high school sports side, what's next. Football's starting to, even if they're not in practice, we're starting to get there. But one thing, we have a lot of our young athletes, not just in football, but different sports. They go and play collegiately at different levels. And I guess I just want to talk a little bit about, we have a lot of our young men and women who go on to play and they mostly end up playing at NAIA, Division II, Division III, whatever level. Listen, if you love football on Friday, go check out a small college game on Saturday. I know everyone loves to go to, UK, WVU, Marshall. By all means, enjoy that. But I'm telling you, you're going to see some great athletes and a lot of local athletes if you go watch UPike or Union or West Virginia State or UC, or one of those schools. And you'll see some NFL players too. You may not believe it, but you will. You'll see some guys who go on. I've seen several in my time watching small college football. So.
Absolutely. I know you're a big fan. You usually pick a team every year to follow around on that level. So
I follow my team. I follow my alma mater at the Division II level. But I like right now, my alma mater, the backup quarterback for the Bears, has played his college ball at my old school. So
well, small colleges. Listen, if this year didn't teach you anything, go look. Celtics win the NBA championship with former Glenville State, Joe Mazzulla. So,
Derek White started off as a Division II college basketball player.
Okay.
Derek White was a Division II basketball player, transferred either his last year or maybe his last 2 years to Colorado. But that's another thing too. Like some of these kids, and I've heard it and seen it before, they're offered a small school and they kind of just, look, man, you get that opportunity anywhere you go. And, look at, like Derek White. He's an NBA champion and he's going to get a lot of money coming up because of what he's done, and rightfully so.
Well, I ended up, and Jimmy Johnson made a good point. When Bear Mountain is finished, it's going to be a great place to watch a football game. Listen, you go to a UPike football game, people will be surprised with how fun and how many people are there to support the Bears. I highly suggest somebody, take a day to go out there. Coach Phipps always putting a good product on the field. They're going to be really good this year. Get out and support your UPike Bears too, and KCU Knights. But Bradley, we're come to that time. We're going to have to let you go. Hopefully we can take it maybe Thursdays. We might have Bradley on. We might try to make a weekly thing of it and talk some local sports. So what we will do, Bradley, we're going to take a quick commercial break. And then when we come back, we're going to have Logan guard Matt Hatfield in the house. So make sure that you guys come right back and join us here in just a second on the D&D Sports Network morning startup show. Thanks, Bradley.
Thanks, guys.
Eric Home and Drug today and let them fill your prescription. Eric Home and Drug has been serving the Chapmanville community for over 46 years. They're a proud supporter of the Chapmanville Tigers and all mountain athletes. Pass, bring them to Hall and Jones Funeral Home in Burgee, Kentucky. We let you grieve in peace instead of worrying about a heavy financial burden of burying a loved one. Here at Hall and Jones, we have multiple chapels that can accommodate any size family. We look forward to helping you and your family here at Hall and Jones.
Walters Kia. By now, you know Kia is a great vehicle, and you know they come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty. So why should you buy from Bruce Walters Kia? At Bruce Walters Kia, we're going to change your oil for free for life. And what you do with that money you save is up to you. Come check out the 2022 Kia Carnival and the 2021 Kia Sorento. Only at Bruce Walters Kia in Pikeville. Or shop us online at brucewalterskia.com.
High School. Continue to follow D&D Sports, best coverage in the mountains.
And we are back here on the D&D Sports Network morning startup show. This segment is sponsored by Jim Marr Services, located in Logan, West Virginia. If you're looking for a job in the coal industry, call Jim Marr today, and they will get you set up, whether it's above ground, underground, or if you're looking for coal mining supplies, call Jim Marr Services. Guys, we have JJ Pruitt, Darryl McCoy here, and we got special guest Logan guard Matt Hatfield in the house. Matt, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so I always let JJ start these asking questions on our athletes first. So go ahead, JJ.
It's finally nice to meet you. You know, I finally had a chance to see you play for the first time, and you're definitely a phenomenal player, man.
Thank you.
So my first question for you is, so you're a former Mingo Central player, and now you play at Logan. So what has the transition been like for you from going to Mingo Central and then transferring to Logan?
Really, the biggest difference between the two schools is the culture. You know, Mingo Central likes basketball, but Logan lives it. And, you know, it was good to finally to get away from Mingo Central and see that other people love to live basketball like I do. So that's really the biggest difference between the two.
Well, that's really awesome. And, you know, when I had a chance to watch you play in Summer League, my question to you is, out of all the players that's on your team, like, were there some that was missing that are going to be notable players that's going to help you guys out this year?
Yeah, every time that we've played this summer, we haven't had everyone there. So everyone that's seen us play this summer, they really haven't got to see the real Logan school and the way we play. So when we get to the season, people are going to really be surprised on how we do and how young we'll be and how we'll play.
Absolutely. We're all really excited to see you.
Hold on, JJ. I want to break in for you on just a second here. Peyton Adams just put a good comment there. The Logan County School Board agenda just put their July 1st agenda out, and Mark Hatcher is set to be approved as head coach. So there you go. You got your new head coach, Matt Hatfield.
It's good to hear.
Yeah, so go ahead, JJ.
Yeah, that's terrific. And, I'm really glad that they finally announced your coach, because I know how important it's going to be for you to actually know who you're going to be playing for.
Yep.
That way you can develop some chemistry with them.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. Darryl, would you like to follow up?
Oh, absolutely. Matt, yeah. I know Matt's game as well as anybody. And this kid, the thing I like about Matt's game is Matt is a player that, you always know what you're going to get from him. You will never make a play to cost anybody a ball game. You make all the right plays, all the right reads. Most unselfish kid that I've seen in a long time. You come in on our D&D Mountain Elite AAU program, and knowing that you got the talent to start in the first day there, you're like, I'm here to do whatever, play out of position, play whatever you needed to do to win. So Matt, that's one thing that really stands out is your willingness to play any part and put winning ahead of anything. Where's that come from?
Really, it's just the drive that I have. Growing up, I've always been on the smaller side of height-wise. So I've always wanted to do what I can just to win. And it doesn't matter if it's the score, play defense. I just really just want to win.
Yeah, and at Mingo Central, how much did Mingo Central prepare you and allow you to do that? Because at Mingo Central, you was tasked with playing every position 1 through 5 on the floor. How much did that experience at Mingo Central help you become a better player?
It helped me a lot because, it was in my freshman and sophomore year. So I was younger than everyone. And being able to play all those positions with, some great coaches at Mingo, it was just great to experience every position at the high school level.
Yeah. So, last year come in, last summer, y'all spent without a head coach, and then ended up bringing Hoopy Whipson in. And I know you had a really close relationship, amazing guy, good friend of mine. But, so you got a great year with Coach Williamson. That year there, what did Coach Williamson teach you that you'll take with you moving forward?
Man, he didn't just teach me basketball lessons. He taught me life lessons. Since the beginning, me and him kind of had a connection, and throughout the season, we got closer. And he really just taught me that there's more to life than just basketball. And it's not the end of the world if you have a bad game, have a bad practice, that, life goes on.
Yeah. So this summer, it's one of them things, definition of insanity, end up going the entire summer without a coach again. As a player, let me ask you, how hard is that going and playing summer ball without your head coach and the guy that is going to be over the program? I mean, do you feel like that you need them valuable few weeks there with that coach to build that bond to get ready for a season run?
Absolutely. Without a head coach, you don't know what kind of plays you're going to run. But, we were thankful enough to have Patrick Beto and Brandon Browning to take over and take that leadership role until we find a head coach. And, they did that last year too, and we ended up okay. So it was good to have them there.
Yeah, they do a great job stepping in, and they're kind of the keepers of the program. Kind of making sure things stay on track when things are a wire. So talk about this year here. Last year y'all come up short. This year y'all return a stud backcourt, and you and McCormick Ilderton. My mind, one of the best defenders in the mountains.
Absolutely.
And you got Zay Sherrod coming back. I know you got some young talent, Lucas Lambert, Bentley Williamson, that's going to be playing big minutes. And then you got the big fella, Ivan Miller. Is this team that coming back good enough to make a state tournament run?
Absolutely. Especially going down to AA. You have a few good teams in AA, but, people are going to look over us, because we lost two seniors, two really good players, but we're really just looking to reload with them. And, we might struggle in the beginning because we'll be kind of young, but mid-January going into February will be hard to beat.
Yeah. The thing that I like about, you're always ready to hoop. You got a month left, got a, hopefully a couple AAU tournaments, coming up in this final summer. But, between now and then, what are you working on to continue to make yourself a valuable next level commodity?
Really the biggest thing is getting in the weight room and working on my speed. I feel like my skills and everything are there for the next level, but every player at the next level is as fast or faster than me and just as strong. And being a 6-foot guard, you have to be as quick as possible and being able to guard the taller players at the next level.
Yeah, the JJ, I know you had some interesting questions you wanted to ask Matt.
Well, I'm going to go with the first one. What do you think is the biggest strength of your game? Is it offense? Is it defense? Is it getting your teammates involved? Or
I really just think it's just being a leader. That's really the one thing that Coach Williamson emphasized with me, is to lead on and off the court. And at first, I didn't want to take that role because, it wasn't a real fun role to have. But, later on in the season, especially going into this year, I really just need to lead the team and just do what I can on and off.
It's unfortunate because, if you lose, then all the blame goes on you. But at the same time, you're the man to do that. And I think that you're going to do a great job this season for sure. But my last question to you, and I just found this out, I'm not 100% sure if this is true or not. Now, I've never met a Hatfield that wasn't a baller, but I heard that you may have a McCoy in your family that may be arguably the best player in the family. Is there any truth to that? I heard your mom was a hooper back in the day.
My mom was a hooper back in the day. She's about 6 foot. No one could guard her in the post. So outside of 15 feet, though, you didn't have to guard her. But inside of 15 feet, she was hard to handle.
Yeah, that's something that me and him are proud of, because I know he's a McCoy and my great grandmother was as well. So it's nice to know that, that may be the best player in your family. Yeah.
Matt, his mom, I grew up, she was 2 years ahead of me in school, and I was a huge fan back then of D's teams. D was one of she was probably my favorite player on the team, but they had a loaded with Susan Thomas, Ashley Rosen. They had the Jamie Heflin, Camille Klein. You keep going down, Spanky. So that led Belfry to 2 straight. I think it was 2. It might have been 3. I know 2 straight 16 region appearances, right? Or Sweet 16. Did she win 2 region titles, Matt?
Yeah. Yeah,
that's what I thought. So definitely. And then his aunt, Nikki, was a good hooper too back in her day. So but going back, we got a fan question coming in. Kevin Baisden said, Matt, got a question for you. Who is the best looking coach you've ever had? And
it's got to be you, Kevin.
Not say Brian.
It's got to be you, Kevin.
Definitely you. So and that's one thing I like, about you, Matt. You never have forgot your roots. Even though that you're at Logan and you're doing your thing there, you end up, I still talking to you. You're always keeping up with Mingo Central, and you still tell you got love for the Miners.
Yeah, I've grown up with those guys, so they're still family, they're still friends, and even though I'm not at Mingo, I still support them. I still love them. I still want them to succeed. So, it's just good to see where you grow up and see how well they're going to be and stuff like that.
So with your AAU program, you think your squad's got a chance to go make a run at a big AAU tournament championship this summer?
Yeah, I think we can. If we have everyone there, we play well together. And, we share the ball, so we can make a run and surprise some people.
Now, do you want to adjust that answer we'll go on the best looking coach you've ever had?
I'll keep it with Kevin.
So I get no love here, Matt.
We got to give it to Kevin.
Yeah, I got to stay in a game long enough, right?
Yeah.
But no, Matt, I tell you, man, I'm very excited this year. I know what I've seen this summer. You're continuing to get better each and every time out. One thing that I'm sure Coach Hatcher is a brilliant basketball mind. So Logan basketball is going to be in outstanding hands with him. Fans should get really excited to get Coach Hatcher back. But one thing that I'd like to see them do that this summer is I'd like to see them put the ball in your hand more and allow you to be the PG, because I know your IQ, and I see what we do with all that talent around you on our AAU program. So that's something that I would like to see. I think that Logan would be better off if they would take and put you with the ball in your hand, but having the split, having to play off the ball and on the ball, which would you prefer?
With McCormick being there, either way is fine. He can handle the ball. He has a high IQ, and either way I play, I'm okay with it.
Yeah. So next level, what do you think is your bread and butter?
Oh, playing at the next level, I would definitely have to be a facilitator and just play defense and get the ball to the other guys and just do the small things that I need to do.
Yeah. I tell you, Matt, I want to take and thank you, man, for coming on the show. I want to every college coach, I want to make sure that we brought you on so the college coaches can make sure they look you up, do your highlights. Let them know what your Twitter handle is and how they can follow you on social media.
My Twitter is Matt Hatfield 02, and Instagram is just _Matt Hatfield. And then my email is hatfield_Matthew@yahoo.com.
There you go, coaches. Make sure that you get on Twitter, you get on Facebook, Instagram, and look up my boy Matt Hatfield, as he could be a guy that can come in and run your program for 4 years and bring you a lot of success. Matt, I want to thank you again for stepping in and talking to us today, and wish you the best, and can't wait to see you in the AAU tournament soon.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right, thanks, Matt. Guys, we'll take a quick break. Be right back with the D&D Sports Network Morning Startup Show with JJ Pruitt and Darryl McCoy.
Drug today and let them fill your prescription. Eric Drug has been serving the Chapmanville community for over 46 years. They're a proud supporter of the Chapmanville Tigers and all mountain athletes.
Started right here on this farm. We may have grown over the years, but we've never lost sight of what was important to us. We're continuing that tradition today, and we always will be for generations to come.
Oceana Discount Tobacco today. Nobody can beat Oceana Discount Tobacco's great prices or their great services. You're treated like family from the second you walk through the door. We want to thank Oceana Discount Tobacco for sponsoring today's events. Go follow them on Facebook.
High School. Continue to follow D&D Sports, best coverage in the mountains.
And we are back here on the D&D Sports Network Morning Startup Show. Good morning, folks. Appreciate you guys sharing this morning with JJ Pruitt and myself, Darryl McCoy, here on the Morning Startup Show. Hope you guys are enjoying the show so far. We got about 30 minutes left, so got a lot of stuff we still want to get to, JJ. But, right now, first impressions on Matt after getting to talk to him, JJ.
He's a very well-spoken kid, and I was really surprised that Kevin was one of his former coaches. Whenever Kevin made that comment the other day that he was focused on coaching more than playing, I didn't know that he was one of the players that he actually coached, which was pretty cool. And just learning a little bit more about his family and how good everybody was in athletics. He's going to be really good this season.
Yeah, he is. Matt, I never question whether Matt's going to have a good season. Matt's always going to bring and do what he does. So Kevin Bazin says, I appreciate it. Kevin Bazin does an amazing job coaching. Let's see. Jimmy Johnson says, Western Sizzler Steakhouse in Pikeville was a great place to eat back in the 80s, too. So Jimmy Johnson still giving us food ideals. So let us know. We got Terry Jackson tuning in. Terry Jackson, one of the top trainers in the area. If you guys are looking to grow your game and you're in the Tug Fork area, the Williamson, Pike, Mingo, Logan County area, hit up Terry Jackson. Comes in every weekend to train mountain ballers. So he's former Williamson legend too. So appreciate that, Terry. He said Matt spoke very well. And, Terry, that's what, maybe we'll get our AAU group together and have you come and coach them or come train them one day and let you meet all of them, because I know you do a great job pushing them all out to college coaches. So, JJ, as I'm sitting here looking, you yesterday we was talking, you showed me a story, and there's a horrible shoot, and we see it way too much these days, these shootings in America. And I hope that changes, and I'm I don't even know what the amendment is. What's the gun amendment? Yeah, Second Amendment.
Second Amendment. Yeah.
I'm a huge supporter of the Second Amendment, but the right to bear arms, but You do see, but even when you go to England and stuff, what it makes it tougher on is law enforcement. I know some law enforcement in some countries don't even carry guns, so I could see how things can get out of hand, but I just say I'm a huge supporter of the Second Amendment, but I do think we need to tighten up the laws and make sure the right people are getting guns.
Yeah, absolutely. Or make the consequences if you commit a crime, maybe make them a little more harsh, which could possibly make people more reluctant to do something crazy. I mean, I'm not sure what the solution is, but I mean,
well, we seen that story come yesterday, and it definitely gave you jitters. But when you was little, what's the first major news stories that you ever remember as a kid?
How many stories can I give you? Do you want one? Do you want two, three?
If you can do it quickly, give me 5.
I can give you 3 off the top of my head. I would say the Columbine massacre for sure, 9/11, and easily, I don't know if a lot of people remember this, but the DC sniper.
Yes.
That was, I think this was maybe 2002. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but it was it was 23 consecutive days where, somebody was getting shot and nobody knew, where it was coming from.
It was terror in America. They released terror. Like, people was afraid to go outside because you never know knew who was next. You didn't know who it was coming from. It was something that released terror on America.
Absolutely. And it even made it to Charleston at one point, didn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I was at a gas station, minutes before one time we went up there right outside Charleston to a gas station, and minutes later there was a shooting. So, I'm looking back now, I say minutes later, but it was probably, I say 10, but it's probably more like 30, 40, something like that. But when I got home, my aunt was showing me video of the latest one, and I was like, that's where we just left from, but it's crazy. That and anthrax are probably the 2 that scared America as much as any, because same situation, people never knew, with the anthrax. But, the stories, I guess the first news story that I remember, I remember vaguely, and somebody can tell me, I know I'm not making this up, but there was a little girl, her name was Jessica, I think, and she fell in a well. It seems like that was the first news story that I ever remember, and I don't know why it was a big deal, but let me know if that's true, people that's older than me. And then Jimmy Johnson says Columbine and the Mayfield shooting was the 2 that he remembers. I trying to think, and then the first big news story that I knew where I was at when it happened was when the space shuttle exploded. I remember I was in first grade, I think first or kindergarten 1, and our teachers, back then you didn't have TVs and stuff, in classrooms. They had to wheel them in, but they brought TVs in classrooms and was letting the kids watch the space shuttle lift off. And when they was letting the kids watch the space shuttle, it lifted up, and it lifted up, I don't know how many, I guess 300-400 yards, and exploded right there in front of everybody. And that was probably the most terrifying and shocking first story that I remember. But then that one and 9/11 are the 2 that I remember where I was at when it happened.
Yeah, I vividly remember where I was on that day. I was actually at the doctor's office, and all of my friends were at school watching it, on the news, and, they were talking about the doctor's office. And then I remember after I left the doctor's office, we went to Walmart, and everybody was in panic mode. Like, it was fully crowded there, and, everybody was talking about how gas could possibly go up to $5 a gallon. In 2001, that was unheard of.
Well,
And-
I remember where I was at too. You know, my mother used to be the maid for Don Blankenship and Eric Rash and his family. And I was at Eric Rash's dad's house. My mom was cleaning the house and sat there and we watched the planes hit the towers. And and then, you're sitting there waiting on the Pentagon and, all that. So that was definitely a scary one. But Jimmy Johnson says Oklahoma City bombing. Yeah, the Oklahoma City bombing, that was one of the very first. There was actually, with Oklahoma City, I'm going to put 3 more with that. The Unabomber, Oklahoma City bombing, and then that, I think it was David Koresh, the Coke guy that down in Texas. Those are the 3 with the Jessica, the space shuttle. Those are probably the ones that I remember, the first ones that I ever remember as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
So, let us know what your guys are. Jimmy Johnson says Rodney King murder, Wrights, O.J. Simpson chase. Yeah, all of them was
absolutely
in my teens. So, I remember them vividly. The Rodney King was a little earlier, but I remember them vividly. Now, when you talk sports stories, obviously,
Dale Earnhardt.
Yeah, Dale Earnhardt, the Tanya
I
Harding.
remember that one.
Tanya Harding. But, and then when you go into, like celebrity deaths, the celebrity death that impacted me more than any was Kobe.
Yeah, that was brutal.
Yeah.
And,
Kobe
I would say
Michael Jackson would be the 2.
Yeah, I cried when that happened. When Michael Jackson passed, Kobe as well. Like both of those were devastating. Like, and let's see, what other ones can I think of that was very tragic off the top of my head?
Yeah,
kind of hitting a blank.
But, those are the big ones that I can remember. But the Jimmy Johnson says Waco, Texas caught an FBI raid going in on them. I think that was the David Koresh one that I'm talking about. I'm pretty sure that's what that was. But, and I remember a lot of people, let me know when I was a kid, let me know if this is true. But I remember this for some reason. But our whole community here was scared to death because there was a white van. All right. Back then, everybody was scared of devil worshipers. And there was white vans full of devil worshipers. And it had our whole community here in the mountains, was scared to death because of this white van. It was like a group of kids. And I remember at Hardy Pool, one day we was there and that white van come and it was a group of teenagers and they was getting up on the diving boards doing unbelievable flips. But you could just tell that they had long hair, tattoos, no shoes. That was one of the scariest times that I ever had. Like I remember local stories. And then I remember once when there was a guy that was claiming to be Jesus or a fortune teller or something that was predicting the end of the world in the area. And then I remember one time a guy at Happy Mart that climbed up on that pole and would not come down for a long time. He was out there on that pole. Those are 3 local stories that I remember as a kid. And I could be dreaming them up, but I swear I remember all 3 of them. So let me know if that's true, the people that's older than me.
Absolutely.
Said Robin Williams' death, taking his own life from depression.
Oh, man.
I know that wasn't when I was young, but devastating because he brought so much joy to the world. That's a good one there, Jimmy. That's a really good
that's a great one, actually.
Yeah, so as we're moving on here, JJ, guys, for you guys that don't know JJ is he's got ADHD. Yeah.
Oh.
JJ, we've talked about JJ being sheltered on the show, and JJ is, I'm used to JJ, and JJ digs into stuff. Like he's a brilliant mind. Like if you bring up a topic, he can tell you a year like that. Like if I mention a movie right now to him, like, I don't know. Let me try to think of an example. 10 Things I Hate About You. Do you know what year it was made, JJ?
Was it like 99 or was that 1999? I think.
I don't know that, but he is unbelievable when it comes to stuff ringing off his head like that. But JJ, I've actually, it's not been hard getting used to you though, because I'm used to my wife. You're a lot like her. She's got ADHD. So, y'all kind of have the same quirks.
Yeah, when I first had a conversation, which I've went to school with your wife, we graduated at Belfry together. We was in homeroom together. But, after finally having a conversation with her for the first time in years, and the more she got to talking, I was like, this is literally me, a reflection of myself. One of my biggest things that I'm guilty of is whenever I'm trying to speak to somebody, not being able to know when they're fully finished talking and then unintentionally cutting them off, which is something that I probably do at times whenever I'm speaking on the radio or on this podcast. And like if you ever see, the camera look like it's shaking or I'm shaking, like that's usually my legs. So like, yeah, that's something that I battle with each and every day. And, for me to be able to make it as far as I have, like these first 4 or 5 days, I feel like I've taken a lot of steps forward.
No, that's something that and right now I know it's not it's not a disability or anything, but want to remind everybody at Little Flower Clinic, Kentucky Mountain Health Alliance, during that, if you're struggling with any health issues, it's Men's Health Awareness Month at Little Flower Clinic and at Kentucky Mountain Health Alliance. So make sure you guys call Scott Napier and our friends there at Little Flower Clinic. We was there yesterday, JJ, Little Flower Clinic and the East Main Street Pharmacy. Beautiful place for all your pharmaceutical needs. Make sure medical needs to go to Little Flower Clinic and East Main Street Pharmacy. So, JJ, I forgot to mention to you, when we went to Red River Gorge the other day, now, I want to know how many people would do this. We was going around this bend, and I looked down, and there was a house that was cut out in a hill. And it was like something from the movies. Like the door was a round circle, a big, like safe-like door, a round circle. And I was like, that's the neatest thing in the world. Well, when we come back through, there was a guy out there, and my wife, she was about ready to kill me because, I don't meet a stranger. And I stopped and I hollered at him. I said, hey, you live there? Because I thought it was just for looks, my wife thought it was for looks. And I was like, no, that's real. And she's like, no, that's just for looks. And I was like, no, that's real. I said, it's got a chimney. And it was a little hobbit house. And I stopped and asked him if we could go in and look at it. He's like, yeah. He's like, it's a mess, but yeah, come on. And it was unbelievable. This guy built this. His daughter was a Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter fan. And they was from the Ashland area. He gave up everything that he owned in Ashland to move to Red River Gorge. And they took and bought this plot of land that nobody else would want because it's mountainside. And he literally cut it out and put a house in the mountain. And when you walk in, everything was idyllic to what a Hobbit house in like Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings. I don't know which one of them movies has hobbits, but it looked identical to it. One of the neatest things that I've ever seen. And I forgot to mention that on my trip to Red River Gorge. But, that's something, his daughter was like, he said she was like 16, 17 when he decided to do it for her. So, it's pretty neat. And then me and you yesterday, we seen a house that I'd never paid attention to right outside Prestonsburg. That's the same way. It's built inside the mountain.
I'm trying to.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah, I could do so. I think the audio messed up a little bit. Yeah, that's my mistake.
Yeah, But
Yeah.
but the it's neat to see them houses, unique houses like that. So that brings my question. Let us know the most unique houses that you guys know here in our area. The one that would come to my mind, it's not really a unique house, but the placing of it is unique, is the one that Don Blankenship built on top of the mountain in Turkey Creek. I think Shannon Wright and them may own it now, but
is that the green, or is that giant house that you see like when you're in Williamson? It's like the main top of the mountain.
Yeah, that's
a beautiful. I've always wondered like how somebody gets up there. Is it via helicopter? Is there like a road that you can,
Yeah.
it takes you up there?
No, there's a road. You go up through A-Flax, and I think there's roads on the other side. There might be one on the Mate one side, maybe Blackberry side that takes you up there too. But the road that I know about is on up A-Flax at Burnwell.
Yeah.
So and that brings me to if you're going on vacation, here in the mountains, tourist attractions in the mountains. We talked the other day, JJ, about the Overlook. You said you'd never been to the Overlook in Pikeville.
Yes, and I'm really excited to go there.
Well, let me ask you this. Going back to how sheltered is JJ, have you ever been to Burnwell Beach?
One of my best friends is actually from Burnwell Beach, so I can say that I've been there once. Yeah.
Okay. So then the thing that's odd, is like when we go to Myrtle Beach, everybody goes to Myrtle Beach from the mountains. Well, when you go to Myrtle Beach, everybody, like you see the local people that lives like a block away or 2 blocks away that never go to the restaurants, that all the tourists go to, or they never go, down on the strip, or they never, and I talked to a couple and they was like, no, there's like, we don't, we don't ever, go over there. And it shocked me because then I got thinking, I was like, like the Hatfield and McCoy trails, like we don't think about that. That's just second nature to us, but people travel all over the world to come to it.
Yeah, and that's very fascinating that you bring that up. Like, how do you feel about all these trail riders that have been coming in for the last couple of years? Do you think it's good for the community, or you think it's, I
love it, man. I think that it has gave a huge boost to our economy. We talked the other day about, Obama's war on coal and how bad that it, tore our community apart. Well, this right here, if done right and it keeps building, this trail riding system, hopefully one day we can make this like a Gatlinburg, here in the mountains. That's what my hopes are, and I hope everybody can eat off the trail system, because you take and see like, you got Airbnbs popping up, you got restaurants, you got cabins. There's a lot of opportunities coming from the trail system. I'd like to see some people, it'd be neat to put in some fun stuff like go-karts, like little arcade rooms, stuff like that. So, to help attract more families with the trail system. But, that's, I would love for our communities to build off that trail system, because I think it could be something special.
I love how you pointed out the fact that it has a chance to be, this version of Gatlinburg, like this local version of Gatlinburg. We're just one or two major attractions away from fully, having something that's the equivalent of that. Gatlinburg, they're known for like Dollywood and a couple of other places. And, if we could get something like that here, on top of the trails, we would be good to go for the most part.
And the, now, I've not been there years, but the Coal House in Williamson, like maybe make it the Hatfield McCoy Museum or something like that. And,
absolutely.
Add other attractions to help build off that. So when people does come in for the trails, like, people wanting to go out and, go to a little park or something, like have a little amusement park, or, have go-karts or, stuff like that for people to take advantage of. I would love to see that happen, and people really seek the opportunity. Like, I tell you what would be great is the old Mate 1 high school. Take and make that, a game room, like a little like a tourist mall, to a game room, have food, kind of like if you've ever been to Camp Landing in Boyd County, you could do that with the old Mate 1 High School.
Absolutely. And I know that, the Williamson Fieldhouse is one of the more famous gyms that people remember playing in, but the Tiger Dome, that was another great gym as well.
A lot of great players played in the Tiger Dome.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would love, if people would, I wish they would renovate that and allow people to use the dome there, because there's Betsy Lane's dome's the only other one, and Breathitt County's dome, the only other ones in the mountains that I can think of. Yeah. So I would love to see them open that up and let people use that and make something out of that. I went to Morgan County last night, and they got an old school there. I guess it was the old Morgan County or West Liberty High School or something. Yeah. But they allowed that building is opened up in the court and stuff. Anybody can go in there and use it. You just got to sign in and go in there and use it. That's what I would like to see the community of Mate 1 do with that school.
And that's the thing about Mate 1. That place has so much potential. I mean, I know it's an extremely small town and it's very easy to miss, but there's a lot of things there that, if the right person got a hold of them, they could turn it into something really special.
Oh, right here is great. Billy Davis is tuning in. He said this has to be recorded. No way Darryl's up at this early. So I'm up. It's live, Billy. We'll have to have Billy come down here on the show.
Yeah,
he said
sure.
The old Mate 1 High was bought by Don Blankenship. Said he's going to put a resort with zip lines and stuff. That's an amazing idea.
Oh, thank God.
Don Blankenship.
Yeah. And it's a Mate 1 boy, it's nice to know that somebody from that area actually, is going to do something with it.
Oh, yeah.
That's terrific.
That's amazing. Don, I'm a big fan of Don, with the coal mines, listen, he offered a lot of jobs to this community, and, when, and he done what he had to do to keep our miners in jobs, so and my mom was a maid for him. He cleaned his houses, his cabins, all that. And, Don, I've always been a fan of Don, and, I'd love for him to get more involved in this community, because he's the man that has the power and the money to make things happen that could build this community to where it needs to be.
Absolutely. My uncle and he were, best friends growing up. So yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about him from my uncle, and I've seen a lot of good things as well with my own two eyes.
Yep. So JJ, it has come to that time in the day. Today was a great show. We had Bradley Dameron. We talked the NBA draft. We had Matt Hatfield. Again, guys, want to thank everybody for tuning in, to the D&D Sports Network startup show. As this show, we started it to help you guys wake up in the mornings and start your days off with us. So, hopefully you guys are enjoying the show, and, some of the stuff we talk about remind you of childhood stuff. Sometimes, we teach you a lot of stuff. Sometimes you guys teach us. That's why we love for you guys to conversate in the comment section, because, there's a lot of stuff that we don't know, that, Jimmy Johnson, he brought, his comment game was strong today. So, brought a lot of info that we didn't know. So, make sure, tomorrow we'll try to get another guest on, and hopefully you guys will continue to enjoy this startup show. Right now, it's getting great reviews. We're getting quite a few sponsors that's reaching out, wanting to be a part of it. If you would like to sponsor or grow your business here on the D&D Sports Network Morning Startup Show, make sure you guys reach out to us, and we will come see you and get that thing rolling. But again, guys, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Billy Davis, one last comment. He said it was supposed to be a $10 million investment. So, hats off to Don Blankenship for that. But, guys, I want to remind everybody, have a good day. And me and JJ are going to get out on the selling trail, and we will see you tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. So look forward to seeing you. But until then, good day. hear from JJ Pruitt and Darryl McCoy on the D&D Sports Network Morning Startup Show.